Hey friends, welcome to This Prepared Life. I'm Allison. I am so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to show you what I got in my Azure Standard order for this month. But first, I need to go pick it up. And it is a cold morning here in North Idaho. It's hat season. It is a lovely 27 degrees. All right, friends, so I could not take you along as I picked up my order, but I just got my order. This was a pretty good sized order, not the largest we've ever done, but a pretty big one. And you can see the truck back here. The truck just pulls into the parking lot and everyone's mostly gone home already. I had to wait for frozen stuff, and our drop comes out of the truck last. But everyone helps unload the pallets and the truck driver brings them off, and then everyone just calls out names. And our drop is a pretty large drop, especially for our area here in North Idaho. But let's go ahead and head home and get into the homestead kitchen and unpack these boxes, and I will show you what I got. So I have got all this unloaded. Let's dive in and see what I bought this month. I have not done an Azure Standard order since July, and I do have a video of that haul that I can share with you. So let's dive in and see what I got. One of the things you should know about Azure Standard, if you've never ordered from them before, is that they do reuse packaging. So what you see on the box may not necessarily be what's inside it. And I know that was confusing to me the first time I ordered. So let's just start right here. I did get a case of organic diced tomatoes, and I am at the point in my food storage where I typically do not buy things just 1 or 3 cans at a time. I will buy them by the case and then I rotate by the case. So I have a case of diced tomatoes and I will date these with the expiration date and put them on my shelf. I do rotate first in, first out. And when I'm ready to use these, I'll pull them into my kitchen pantry. The next thing I got is a box of the new Azure Standard canning jars, and I've never ordered these before, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up and show you what they look like. These are half-gallon jars, and I did not order them with lids because I do have a lot of lids in my proper pantry. All right, so let's see what these jars look like. I do keep a considerable amount of canning jars on hand. In all sizes. These half gallons I typically will only use for, not typically, I only use them for dry goods storage. I don't usually can in these. I will store stuff like in the refrigerator in them. Oh, and these are really cold, so they're getting some condensation on them. These feel great. They're super sturdy. They have a cute little picture on the front. I don't know if you can see with all that condensation. It's just a mountain scene. So I got 6 half-gallon canning jars to use for my dry goods storage and bulk food storage. This box is, example of I did not order anything from Tacoma Screw. So let's see what's in here. All right, so cornstarch. I realized the other day I pulled the one of the last containers of cornstarch out of my pantry, so I bought a couple more. We don't use a lot of cornstarch, but I will put this in jars and store it in smaller size jars. This box also has several different kinds of tea in it. This box right here is an entire case of frozen strawberries. If you caught my Costco haul video a couple weeks ago, you saw that I went down to my pantry shelves and I had no more strawberry jam. And my kids prefer strawberry. I do still have raspberry and apple and other varieties in there. And we did not grow or pick enough strawberries this year for me to make any jam with. So I bought a case of frozen, and this is, this is 30 pounds of frozen strawberries. And I am going to freeze dry some of these, and I'm also going to make a couple batches of strawberry jam to get us through till next strawberry season. These 2 cases are cases of broth, and it's the broth in the cartons. And it's a case of, I believe, organic chicken, organic beef broth, and organic chicken broth. Right here, we do can our own broth, a lot of broth, but we go through a lot of broth. And coming into fall and winter, I wanted to restock the broth that was getting a little low on our pantry shelves. If you do not know how to make broth, broth is an excellent way to improve your kitchen storage and be able to make your own shelf-stable broth. Pressure canning, while it seems daunting, and I know because the first time I pressure canned anything, I was afraid to eat it for months until I finally was just like, no, I can do this. I know how to read a recipe. I know how to follow instructions. I know that I did those things. We can eat this broth. And we did, and that was over 15 years ago, and I have not looked back. So if you want to learn how to pressure can, get a book. I do have a PDF guide to pressure canning on my website. I will link that in the description. But broth is a super easy way to jump into building your food storage. So, case of chicken and case of beef broth. All right, so this box is frozen broccoli. 2 big bags of frozen broccoli. The Azure Standard broccoli is really small. You can see that these are super small, tiny pieces, and I actually like that better. And I like to have these on hand for just eating throughout the year. Broccoli is one of the vegetables that all of my kids will eat, so we like to have a lot of broccoli on hand. I've also freeze-dried this broccoli, and it does amazing. The next thing I have here is 2 boxes of diced potatoes, and these are labeled as hash browns on the website. I like to keep these in my freezer, and my freezer is part of my short-term layer because it is incredibly easy to toss these already diced potatoes into a soup when I need a really quick dinner. And I do have potatoes in my food storage, and then I also have freeze-dried potatoes and dried potatoes, but these are just great for making soups. So again, these are their hash browns, but I don't use them as hash browns. The next thing I got is an entire case of apples. So one of the questions people ask me is, how's the produce like at Azure Standard? And I have had good luck and bad luck depending on what the item was. Everything has to ship to you, and it is getting handled and moved around. So I have not had the greatest luck with like some of the softer, more tender produce, but I have great luck with apples, potatoes, celery, carrots, some of the harder, more sturdier vegetables. So this is an entire case of Honeycrisp apples, and you can see they're really small, but I actually like that because sometimes my girls take apples in their lunches and they can't eat. Sometimes in the grocery store, you get a Honeycrisp apple that's like 3 of these, and they can't eat that whole thing. So having little apples is great. What am I going to do with these apples? I am going to freeze dry some of them. Freeze-dried apples are delicious, and every single person in my family loves them. I am also going to package up some of these and keep them in the fridge in our basement for fresh eating. And I may also do some canning with them. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how much gets eaten fresh before I start preserving anything. All right, this is a big box. And it is an entire case of celery because we didn't garden this year. I didn't grow any celery, and we use a lot of celery in soups all fall and winter. So I am going to chop these, blanch them, and freeze them in vacuum seal bags. And I did a case this exact same size last fall, and the celery lasted us, I think, until about February or March before we were out of celery. Here is that entire case of celery. So I am going to be busy processing between the celery and the apples. I also ordered 2 bags of organic unbleached flour to restock my short-term layer. I don't store flour in my long-term layer. I do store wheat berries, but I rotate through about 4 or 5 gallon buckets a year, maybe 5 of flour, and I use those first in, first out. In my short-term layer, things just go straight into the bucket. I do put oxygen absorbers in the bucket. So 2 bags of flour, and I think these are 25 pounds. Yep, 25 pounds. The last box. Let's see what's in this one. If you are unfamiliar with what Azure Standard is, I have a really great story highlight over on my Instagram that tells you all about ordering and what drop pickups look like. All of the good information is over there if you don't know what Azure is. So we have a bag of carrots, this calico cheese, which we go through a lot of this because we really like it. Their mozzarella. This is my favorite mozzarella. I absolutely love it. And we will typically cut these into portion sizes and vacuum seal them. You can freeze it, or we have an extra fridge downstairs. We keep things in. A bottle of avocado oil. So this was a new kind of random, you know how at the grocery store, they have all the stuff at the front to randomly make people purchase things. You would think that in online ordering, maybe that wouldn't happen, but no, it still does. So this is a mason jar top. It's a pour cap with this little handle. It's recap mason jars, made in the USA, wide mouth. So I'm excited to try this and see how I like it. I have spaghetti squash because, again, we didn't garden this year. I don't have a lot of vegetables in our root cellar. This is an entire bag of ginger, and what I will do with this is chop it up in my food processor, and then I will freeze it in little miniature silicone trays. And when we need ginger for a recipe, we just pull out however many cubes we need. And this is a great way to keep that chopped and ready to go. 2 things of Parmesan cheese, a jar of kimchi for Joe, a bag of onion powder, a bottle of bathroom cleaner, and a turkey baster. I have a turkey baster. It's a plastic turkey baster. When I saw this stainless steel turkey baster, I was like, I need that. So it comes with a little brush for cleaning, and just in time for Thanksgiving. And then also a butter keeper. I don't know what the issue with my family, and like we have a butter dish, but I'm always finding the butter just like shoved in there still in the wrapper. When my girls were small, one of them liked to eat butter. So I was always finding butter with tooth marks in it. That was fun and interesting. So I got this new butter keeper to see how I like it. And let's see, let's get this out of the way. Thanks for joining me on my Azure Standard grocery haul this month.